I'm being forced to skip Age of Calamity, here's why. So as many of you may know, I'm a huge fan of the Legend of Zelda series. It's one of my favorites, second to only Kirby.
Why are we still here?
My favorite game is Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. That was my introduction. So I've got that nostalgic attachment to it, but then my favorite in the series is Majora's Mask. It's the best one. Seconded only by Breath of the Wild, which is a fucking phenomenal game. Now, when I say I'm skipping Age of Calamity, I know that a bunch of you just immediately went down, you unsubscribed, you hit the dislike button, but I promise you that I'm not skipping the game because of any inherent problem I have with the game. I actually really like Hyrule Warriors. I have more time in Hyrule Warriors Deluxe on the Switch. Is that what it's called on the Switch? I don't know. I have more hours in that game than I have in Breath of the Wild, and I've got 600 hours in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I kind of know life the fuck out of that game. It's fun as hell. So when I say I'm skipping Age of Calamity, you should immediately know that it's not because I have a problem with the game. It's something else entirely. So as many of you know, I am unemployed right now. My job search is not going well, so that's why I'm doing YouTube at the moment. But the big thing with that is I have no money. I have no money, so I can't buy this game. Despite really wanting to play it, I cannot play it. So I figured today, instead of just sitting here moping around and while everybody else has fun with the game, I can just talk about Zelda, because it's a trending topic today, you know, because a new game came out. What I want in a potential sequel to Breath of the Wild. Let's talk about that. So firstly, the thing that disappointed me the most about Breath of the Wild was the dungeons, you know, because the Divine Beasts, as cool as they were, they didn't feel like a traditional Zelda dungeon. They just kind of felt like floating box puzzles. You feel me? They're just separate from everything, and they're just puzzle boxes that you do for I don't know, your own entertainment, I guess. You don't even have to do them. But the Divine Beasts were kind of cool, but I would just like more traditional dungeons. Like, my idea for this game going in was like you could find like cracks in walls on cliffs, and then you could drop a bomb there and it'd explode, and you would find like the entrance to a dungeon, or just stuff like that, you know, where the dungeons are like integrated into the world. And that's kind of what I'm looking for with the sequel. I'm hoping that we can just like find ways to enter dungeons that are just in the world and it's seamless. You just jump into the dungeon and then you can explore the dungeon. Like that is what I want out of the next game. I want classic dungeons, and I want them to be like with the new formula, you know, like full exploration. You can do whatever you want, but it's a classic kind of dungeon. Hey, this is my coffee for today, and I'm really proud of it. I'll show you a picture here. I took one before I recorded. So, word on the street is that the Breath of the Wild sequel is also going to be darker than the first game, which is I'm a big fan of. I won't lie. If it's got that Majora's Mask kind of vibe going on in the game, that'd be really fun. It'd be awesome. It'd be exactly what I'm looking for. But, so with a darker premise, you gotta have, like, you know, unfamiliarity, or I feel like it won't really work that well. So, I know that the Fuzzy Blue guy was talking a few days ago about what he thinks would be good, and he kind of gave me a really good idea. You know, what if the next game they do like a Dark World kind of scenario, or maybe there's like, maybe the new thing with exploration in this game could be like the underground cave system, because in the trailer we saw, in the trailer here we saw that we saw Link and Zelda exploring an underground cavern. So what I'm thinking here is that we're gonna be doing a lot of underground exploration. I think that could work really well with Breath of the Wild, because right now Breath of the Wild focuses primarily on like it's open air, so you get to explore in the air, and then you can also, like, the big thing with Breath of the Wild is vertical exploration, you know, whereas most games do horizontal. Like, if you think Skyrim does horizontal exploration very, very well, whereas Breath of the Wild does horizontal and vertical exploration, because you can climb up walls, you can jump off stuff, you can sail. A lot of the exploration I feel in Breath of the Wild is climbing stuff and figuring out what's at the top, you know? So, in this game, I feel like vertical exploration would be fun, except this time, maybe the vertical, instead of going up, we're going down, you know? That could be cool. That could be fun. I also think that they could work in like a Dark World kind of scenario, you know, where you could get like an item that transports you to like a dark version of Hyrule, because if you think about it, we haven't seen or heard from the Dark World, which is the sacred realm in the lore. We haven't seen or heard from the Dark Realm since A Link to the Past. Like, the last game to feature the Dark World was A Link to the Past. Not even its sequel. Its sequel goes to an alternate dimension called Lorule, whereas A Link to the Past goes to a place called the Dark World. And I feel like if this is going to be a darker title, a darker sequel to Breath of the Wild, that a dark world would give us more exploration opportunities. It would give us a darker tone. Maybe I just think it would be cool to like see Link turn into a pink bunny. I'm gonna be honest. Imagine going to the Dark World in 3D and you're just a fucking rabbit. You're like a fucking useless little rodent. You're like a fucking, you're a goddamn useless bastard, and you're just jumping around and you're pink and shit. I don't know. Something about it just tickles my fancy. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the fact that we're getting a Breath of the Wild trilogy out of one game is pretty alright. I really want to play Age of Calamity so I can get the prequel really bad, but it looks like I'm gonna have to skip this one, at least for now. I hope that eventually I can get the money together and buy it and play it myself, but right now I'm kind of just struggling with college, and that's where all my money's going to right now, so... Sucks, but that's just kind of what you gotta do when you grow up. You gotta make the hard choices. So guys, remember that if you like the video, to smash like. If you dislike it, smash dislike. And leave me a comment. Tell me in the comments which Zelda game is your favorite. If you're a fan of Zelda, tell me which one's your favorite. If you don't like Zelda, tell me you don't like Zelda. Just let me hear what you have to say in the comments. Anyways, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace! Morning glory, softly, 消えゆく悲しみ